in California if a court does not overturn a judge's ruling that requires Uber to classify drivers as full-time employees. The president of Lyft issued the same warning shortly afterward. Uber and Lyft are both in the process of appealing the judge's decision. Joining us now to talk more about this is Ryan Eldridge, the co-founder of Nerds on Call. Ryan, first of all, what's your reaction?
Well, I don't know. I think I am in favor of Uber and Lyft abiding by the laws of the land, ultimately. When it comes down to it, they've had years and years where they've made billions and billions of dollars skirting what I consider the labor laws of California that everyone else has to apply to their business. I've been an employer in California for nearly 30 years, and I've been essentially using these regulations to hire and train employees all along. And the fact that Uber and Lyft and many of these rideshare companies haven't done it is a shock and a surprise to me.
Is this really necessary, saying that they might have to shut down, or is that more of a scare tactic by Uber and Lyft?
My guess is it's mostly a scare tactic. So they've got a couple of ways they're trying to get around this. So first of all, they have 10 days to appeal the ruling, or which basically means that within the next 10 days, they have to set up systems to turn all of the Uber and Lyft drivers, all the rideshare drivers, into actual employees, which would give them access to sick pay, vacation time, overtime pay, minimum wage, unemployment benefits, health care, paid rest periods, mileage reimbursement. It is a pretty big undertaking for these companies to take on, but I can't imagine they haven't seen this coming and haven't prepared for it already. However, I know they're going to fight it. They have to fight it because California is just the beginning. As soon as California is able to transfer all of those independent contractors into employees, states like New York and all over the country are going to slowly follow suit, because it is just unfair for competing businesses like taxis, for example, to have to pay these same payroll taxes and minimum wage and all these other things. And Uber and Lyft don't have to.
Yeah, you kind of touched on that. Is this basically a money issue here, that they would have to pay workers more in terms of health care and other benefits? Is that what this is all about?
Definitely. They would definitely have to do that. But they also, if you're an Uber driver right now and you get injured on the job, you're fitting that bill for your own health care. So there is also no benefit to you, under a normal company. If you get injured on the job, you can get insurance for that. But you can't get that with Uber and Lyft. And so it is a dangerous time, especially during COVID, when a lot of people are picking up whatever jobs they can possibly do to make ends meet. And they're ultimately being exploited by these $2 billion companies for the dollar. And it just, in my opinion, it just isn't right. I think that they're finally being held accountable for this, and it's about time.
So Uber and Lyft are banking on Prop 22, which is on the November ballot. Prop 22 would exempt drivers for app-based transportation delivery companies from being considered employees. What happens to Uber and Lyft if Prop 22 does not pass?
Well, if it doesn't pass, they will have to turn their employees or their independent contractors into employees. And their argument for not turning them into employees is really kind of silly. In fact, the judge nearly laughs as he's giving his ruling on this, because they're saying that the drivers are not essentially part of the main part of the company's business. And it seems ridiculous to say that. In California, you have to pass what's called the ABC test, which was part of Gavin Newsom's bill that passed last September of 2019, where you basically have to ask three basic questions to determine whether or not somebody is an independent contractor or an employee. One is, can they perform this job without the direction of the company, without the company telling them how to perform that job? Another one is, can they perform that job for other companies, or do they do this independently outside of Uber or Lyft? And then lastly, is this job that they're performing not essential to the way that the company performs its business? And unfortunately, Lyft and Uber fail on all three of those categories.
Ryan, last question here. I'm just wondering, how do you see all of this playing out? So many people depend on Uber and Lyft. What's going to happen here?
I think what's likely to happen is, I don't think Uber and Lyft is going to be able to make any major or substantial changes before their appeal. And so once they appeal, which will likely be denied, what they'll most likely do is stop operations in California until that November ballot comes around. And they're really hoping that there'll be an outrage from Uber drivers and customers alike that will say, okay, let's classify these rideshare app companies different from normal labor laws here in California. Let's let them work independently from those laws. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think everyone is going to be able to see right through that ruse, that ultimately they're going to hold a bunch of people hostage who rely on Uber and Lyft for money, especially right now. And it just, I hate to use really strong language, but honestly, it's just evil. It is just not cool to take all of these people and strand them for months for the billions of dollars they're already making. As you can see, I'm a little passionate about it because to me, it just feels wrong.
Well, I appreciate the passion. And as always, Ryan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the comments.
You're welcome, Frank. Thanks.